Alrighty, we are here in Stormworks. I think I finished up this plane. Still one more little go through to make sure everything's good, but I'm gonna do the video on just a little walkthrough and how to for all the controls and everything like that. So let's get into it. Alright, so as you can probably tell, we do have two versions here. Both will be released. This is the search and rescue version, and over here we have the military version. Both are the exact same. There's no difference other than the color. I do like giving both options. We are going to use the military one for this video. So yeah, so we can do our little walk around. It's got some instruments up in the nose here. We do have the nose wheel. We can go up in here. It is in a little XML block, I believe. Let's see. We do have this door here. There we go. We do have one on the other side as well, but that opens up and you can hop in. Now the propeller is mildly close, but if you're straight, it really does not matter at all. If you come out of this door and try and run left, it's fine. You can walk under this propeller, but if it's moving and you jump out of that door and jump towards this, it might not end well. Another thing, don't spam this button. I believe the winches are just on a timer. So if they do get messed up, really easy. Just tap it twice whenever it's up to tighten them up again. Yeah. That's it. So we can come back here. We do have tie downs on each side. We have tie downs on the wing tips as well. Yeah, we've got refuel. So we can refuel our plane from back here. We also have external power, so we can hook up an external power source. Yeah, and power this plane. We do have ramp controls back here. It's only on this side, not on the other side. You do control it. It's not automated, so it'll stop whenever you stop, and you can just keep going down like that. Now we can walk on up here. We can open this top part a little bit higher like that, and we can also close it and bring this all up. Now we do also have drop position. That will straighten this out, so you can just throw stuff back there. If you are dropping cargo, you should open this up. Just so that it has the easiest way out. Obviously, you can drop it with the ramp down, but you have a nicer little path, and it won't collide with anything in this plane if it goes out on the ramp. We do have our interior here. We have a refuel shutoff valve right there if there's an emergency or something, and we need to shut off the fuel that is coming in to fill up the engines. We can just tap, and now it's closed. We have a bunch of seating in here. We have landing gear service here, so you can tap this and it'll open up. We do want to turn on the electrical so that we can actually use this stuff, so we're going to hit main battery here. We do have controls for the doors in here. As you can see, they just lower. We can raise it up again. We do have two Arctic suits here as well, fire extinguishers, and we have lights. We have daylights and we have night lights. So we're just gonna use daylights. We do have some equipment on the wall, first aid equipment, ropes, hose, all of that. Here we can open up this now. It is a little bit of a longer key hold, but it's because it's a service door and you don't want to be accidentally pressing it. So the landing gear will be right there whenever it's actually all up. We can press our mags here. There's a key on the left for each one. We do have a little blue box here. That's our center of gravity. So that you can know kind of where you want the heavier stuff and balance out this plane before you take off, which is very important. We also have a drop hatch there. If you're dropping out of the bottom, you can do that there. Let's see, I believe that's all. It's just a cargo plane, so it's not like it's supposed to have a whole bunch of features back here other than hold cargo and people. So let's hop up to the pilot seat here. We do have a co-pilot seat there. We do have a bunch of buttons up there. Those are all in op, so those don't do anything. So whenever you first get in this plane, I don't have the checklist right in front of me, but we can look around if you want. I think it turned out pretty well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on either main power or external power. External power is going to say, hey, we're using an external power source, and shut off our main breaker and bring us to whatever power is coming in from our generator or whatever is powering us from land. Now you turn it off, it will take a minute to go down because those were fully charged batteries now with the main battery on. Yeah, so let's go through here. We want to turn on cabin lights, avionics. As you can see, all of our controls light up. We do have a camera for the cargo bay. We have speed. Same on that side. We do have doors, so if we go and actually open up any of the doors, there. So you can see if any of them are open or not. Just a good little thing, especially if you're about to take off or anything, and I don't know, one of the doors are stuck or something like that, you'll be able to see from the pilot's spot, hey, that door is open or not. I think that's a good little feature. We do have a green cargo light, so we can come back here and there's a green light now above the cargo main door. We also have one up here, so that can be kind of just used as a go signal for anything, whether you're pushing cargo out, jumping, anything like that. You can say, hey, good spot, tap that on, and then they can jump out or do whatever they want to do. Here we have search HUDs, so we have a HUD up there, we have one there too, but you have your own controls there. This is on the nose, and it is pointed down, so you can look below the nose and look for whatever you're going to look for. We also have infrared, so we can see at night if we want. So we'll just tap all that off. We do have a reference sheet here, so our takeoff speed is 80 knots, our landing speed is 107-ish. Our cruise throttle is 80%, so you will actually get a ding whenever you're at 80%, letting you know you're at 80%, so you don't have to look all the way down here the entire time, because you're not going to be looking down at your throttle, especially if you're going to land or something, and you need to go around or something, you want to bring that throttle up. So next on our list, what is next on our list? ADIRS, we'll flip those on. If you don't have that on, so that is basically controls and information for all of your navigation. So basically, if you don't have that on, your autopilots are not going to function as they should. You'll still go to your location. You're going to get pretty nauseous on the way there. But you definitely want that on. Yeah. We're turned on hydraulic A and B, so now we can use our control surfaces here, as you can see. If we don't have our hydraulics on, obviously we won't be able to do anything. Here we have low battery, low fuel, and stall. So those are all of our main warnings back there. We will get a master warning up here, letting us know up here that something is wrong. Obviously, if you have a stall, the stall horn's going to go on. But either way, you'll get a light up here, just giving you that extra warning. Let's see here. We do have flares. We have flare count there, cabin temperature. So this goes up by 5 or 10 each tick. Looks like 10. Yeah, so I don't have a little thing saying what temperature you're wanting it to be at, but you can play around with this. It's pretty easy and obvious to figure out what temperature you want it. It goes up by pretty much 10. Yeah, so it's holding us at 30. It'll bring us down to 20, and so on. So pretty simple to use. I think its max is 50 degrees. but you can stay warm in the winter. There's heaters all along back there as well, so you're good. Here we have some more stuff. So we have our battery. We do have volts here. I'll probably rename that volts. You're sitting at 18, which isn't great, so whenever we flip on the generators, it'll go up whenever our engines are running, and we should settle at around 28. Here we have anti-ice. We want to turn that on if it's getting pretty cold out. If you notice your control surfaces aren't working as well as they should, they're probably freezing up and you want to turn that anti-ice on. We do have panel lights. There we go. Thought that wasn't working. We have inspection lights, wing inspection lights. So we have, they light up the engines and the front of the fuselage with a nice little dim light. So not crazy overwhelming, but you'll be able to do some work if you need to. We'll turn those off. We do have runway left turn off there. Runway right turn off there. So those are nice and bright. We'll flip those off. We do have our landing lights here. And we have our taxi lights right up on the nose. And here we have our beacons, so we want that turned on before we start up the engines. And what else we got here? We have strobes. That turns on the strobes. There we go, we got one in the back. We do want our logo light, so people can see our logo if we want. It's not super dark or anything, it's overwhelming right now. So here we do have nav lights, white in the back, green, all of that fun stuff. So I believe that's all for our lights. So let's tick on our engine 2 and 1 pumps. Now for the autopilot, I do like to put in all my settings and stuff before you leave. Let's just put a heading up here. Let's just go there. So we will enter this in our GPS. We'll turn on autopilot master if you would like. You can do that while you're in the air though. It's just one less step, so you can quickly tick on your altitude hold or whatever you want. So here we can adjust what altitude we want if we choose desired altitude hold. So we'll just go to 400. Actually, we'll go a little lower. We'll just go to 300. We do have current altitude hold, so that will hold whatever altitude we're at whenever we press that button. We have desired altitude, so that'll set us to whatever altitude you bring here. Here we do have nose wheel steering, so I want to turn that on because we're about to taxi. Here we have heading hold, so that will hold whatever heading we're at. Now, whenever you do that, as you can see here, we can play around with our bearing now. And so that'll affect where we're going. And GPS is just going to this. So GPS will bring us there. So this is our required bearing to get to our waypoint. This is our current bearing. Yeah, so pretty simple. Now, whenever you use altitude hold or any of that, you want to have pitch stability off. It's just the way it was all layered. You need pitch stability turned off in order for your altitude hold to work. Roll stability is fine. It can be nice taking off pitch stability, turning it on, while you're about to take off and taking off. Here we do have yaw trim and pitch trim, so we can add trim here manually with buttons if we would like. So we can see our yaw here. We can also press 1, and that will delete all of our trim settings on both. Yeah, so I thought that was a nice little feature. We do have radio, push to talk here. Spoilers, we use those for landing. And flaps. We do not use flaps for landing. They use prop pitch as well. So whenever you're below a certain altitude, the prop pitch will get increased. And whenever you're coming into land, you're going to hit that threshold and your prop pitch is going to get increased and you're going to go flying up again. And that's only because the center of lift is so far back in this thing. It needed a bit of prop pitch to help it get up. Here we do have our throttles. We have our manual throttle here we can use. Or we can use 2 and 3 for both at the same time. We do have reversers here. Those are really great for slowing your engine down while you're trying to stop. Here we do have release parking brake, so we can press that whenever we're ready to taxi. And engine start / run. So if we're wanting to start, we'll flip this on. If we're wanting to run, we'll flip that off. Here we go. We won't start up the engines, but there's the masters. Here is our gear. That's our gear position. It'll go to a red in the middle whenever it's halfway up, and a green at the top whenever it's all the way up, so you can see if there's a gear failure or not. Parking brake light. our right fuel tank, we have our left fuel tank here. They both hold about 3,000 liters, so we're about 500 short. Current altitude, VSI, airspeed, engine 1 RPM, engine 2 RPM, engine 2 temp, and engine 1 temp. Now this thing cruises at 80% throttle. You will never overheat. I've driven this thing at 80% throttle all down south and never once broke. I think it's 97, so no matter what, it rests around 97 degrees, which is perfect. Now if you do go full throttle, that will start to overheat, I believe, especially if you're really far down south. But yeah, it's super easy. You don't really have any reason to go full throttle unless you really need the power, but you don't really speed up. You just get more power. Yeah, so I think we're good to start up here. So we'll go over, we have our engine pumps on, all of our hydraulics and everything, generators, main power, and yeah, so we are good here. So we will go and flip this to start 1 master. Now as you can see, it'll get up to 491. We need it to spool up, and then it'll idle at around 380. And then once we press it to run, it'll idle way lower. So there we go. Oh, is it 4? Oh no, yeah, it's 450. Well, the start is on, so it's 380 whenever it's pressed to run. So now that one is all spooled up past 450, sorry. The other one can start up. So we want to do one at a time, starting with 1. There we go. That one's all started up, as we can see. Now it's above 450. We'll flip this to run. Now those will idle down to about 380. And yeah, we want to make sure flaps are down for our takeoff. This thing has a max, I forget the max takeoff weight, but it can hold, I believe, 4,800 pounds of cargo. So basically I just filled this thing up with weight. So it's pretty good. It'll definitely take more of the runway, but it worked. So we want to make sure our nose wheel steering is on, and we will flip our parking brake, and we will throttle up. So taxi speed is about 20 to 30% here. So we'll just drive on over. Assuming that we've got clearance here. Sure we do. Nose wheel steering's fine though, it's very responsive. I think it's capped out at 0.5 though, so you can't do like turns on a dime, but you can get close enough where it doesn't matter. And you have thrust reversers and independent throttles as an option, so really you're fine. The thrust reversers spin you around really quick. So we'll just keep flying around. And this thing is very good on fuel. It's very efficient as well. Now we do have space, which is our push brakes. So I can see here. It'll stop you very simply. It is a bit softer, so it won't just slam on the brakes. I believe it uses a counter, which is kind of nice. And you do have quite good stability around here. Okay, our autopilot's all set up and ready. I just want to do this before I get out there. We're gonna go 300. Once we get positive rate, we pull up the gear, pull up the flaps, and we'll take off our pitch stability and turn on our autopilots. We do have a little compass if we want, but we also have the bearing right here, so. So we'll come up here. Add our push brakes. We're all clear, so we're gonna go through, make sure everything is fine. Our engines are still equal. Everything is good. We have fuel. Our battery is up, so we're at 28 volts, as you can see here. And everything is ready. Passengers are ready, whatever. So now we're gonna taxi on out. We also want to make sure we don't have any trim or anything like that. Taking off is fine with stability and all that turned on. It'll help your takeoff a little bit. It'll just make it a bit smoother. But it's completely up to you. It's more manual, obviously, whenever you don't have it on, which I enjoy. But I know lots of people don't. Now, the stability system isn't perfect, which it's not really meant to be. The roll stability works pretty well. It will sometimes roll over just a little bit. Not roll over, I'm talking about like 2 degrees to the left. And pitch will nose you up a little bit. So you want to be careful with that, and whenever you don't have any stability on, the nose will go down slightly. So for takeoff here, we want to go full throttle, make sure our flaps are down. There's our tick saying we're at 80% throttle. And once we spit 80 knots, we can take off. So we can start to nose up. That little extra speed, there we go. So we can see here, got a good positive rate, so we'll bring the gear up, flaps up. And as you can see there, our gear is up. So now we're taking off. As you can see here, we are nosed up a little. That is what Alt is for, so you can choose your trim here. Or, oh, look, I set in trim settings here. You can actually visually see what you're at all the time. Anyways, so that is your settings in there. So we are quite stable, as you can see, but we are nosed up. So we can play around with the trim if you want. Let's see here. So what are we at? Almost 400. So let's go 450. We will turn off trim. As you can see, we do start to nose down a touch. We are going to do heading hold. So that is our current heading hold and desired altitude. So that's going to bring us to 450. We are pretty much already there. Yeah, 430. So we were very close. And it will take a minute. Not a minute, but it'll probably take 5 seconds for it to stable out. It's just trying to find the bearing. It's only got a bunch of the small little fins, so it doesn't act as smooth as I would like. The little fins are a bit ishy, but it's better than having a big rudder on the back there. I like that tail. Anyway, so we're going 358. We can play around with this if we want. As you can see, it'll affect it, and it'll bring us to whatever bearing that is. Now we also have our GPS bearing set in, so we can press that, turn off heading hold, and it'll bring us to 356. We're gonna go around, we're gonna jump around for a second here just because they're little fins. And we're gonna even out fine. So we are resting at around 447, still going up a little bit, but that's pretty damn close to 450. We do have take and give control here, so you can see the light will follow. That's just giving or taking control. Yeah, so let's see. Let's go back here. So we can fly, all of that. I'm comfortable leaving it alone, so we can press drop position. And I've dropped things out of here before. It works very well. Yeah. Let's see how we can see the gear position now. So there's all the gear right there. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. Now, I'll go over landing procedures real quick. I'm not going to actually land because I'm a bit lost. I don't have a map or anything on this. Let's see here. So, landing, we want all of our autopilots off. Unless you've got it guided in where you are coming in at your perfect angle and everything like that, and you've got a great view of the runway. But basically, we want to make sure our flaps don't go down. We use spoilers, like that. And we will bring our throttle down until we're at around, so there's our 80%. And we want to be coming in at around 107, 110. So there we go. So that is bit. So we're coming in 108. Basically, that's the good enough speed that we can still go up if we want, as you can see there. But the spoilers will keep our nose up a bit and drop us, which is what we want. So there we go, we're going 120 in, and we can just slam this up, and we can still go up. So around 110, 107 is where you want to be. And then as soon as you touch down, we want to bring this landing gear down. You can see this. There we go, middle, and down. Now we know our gear is all down. Now we'll come down as soon as we touch down our beautiful landing here like this. We can still nose up and go down ever so slightly. We'll just keep decreasing the throttle until we're set at around 107 and keep our nose up a little bit, and it'll slowly drop us. And as soon as we touch down, we'll bring it down to taxi speeds, taxi out, and go to our hangar. And drop off cargo, pick up passengers, whatever you want to do. We'll keep on dropping our throttle just a touch until we can keep dropping. There we go, a touch more. There we go, so that's our speed we pretty much want. Now I don't know if this is going to have enough speed for us to go up or not. It's looking like probably no, but if you are set up on your runway, oh yeah. If you're set up on your runway, this is perfect. Either way, I'm not, so we're gonna throttle up here. Bring our gear up, bring our spoilers back, and we will set our altitude. Oh, our altitude hold was still on. Now you do want to be careful setting your altitude and how far up it is. If you go too high up, it will, okay, got it. It will sometimes go up at too aggressive an angle. And you may stall. That's why you're there. So you have to correct that just a little bit, just to keep the nose down a little. So you're in charge of your angle of attack, basically. So keep that in mind. So we'll go down to our 80% right there. There's our ding. So we are still going to be going about 150 knots. It's arguably faster going at 80%. Our engines are idling, I think it's slower. Our engine temperature will be very good this way. So it will be going up, but it rests at around 97 degrees. We can also use our flares. There's our one. Actually shoots two. 6. There we go. So it's got 2 off each side each time you do it. 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. There we go. There's all of our flares. Yep. So that's pretty much it. Obviously you can get the search and rescue version if you want, or this, or both. Completely up to you. You can watch this video to figure out flying this. It's quite simple. Shutting off the engines is very simple. You just keep this to run. You don't turn it to start, and then you just turn off the masters. Stopping the propellers, you can press reversers. Turn off your main power, all of your breakers up there, the ADRS, generators, all your pumps, lights. Basically turn everything off. All of the operations and procedures are in the workshop description, so you can find a link to that in the description of this video if you would like, so that you can get the best out of flying this pretty fun little plane. So thanks for watching.